Hi, my name is Erin Kose and I teach at Belchase Elementary School in Plaquemines Parish. As an educator, I am most passionate about helping all my students meet their highest potential while creating an environment that all students feel comfortable taking risks as they're learning. Today's lesson takes place in my 4th grade ELA classroom. My classroom is a classroom of inclusion, which means that I have a diverse group of learners. We are currently on Module 2, Lesson 20 of our curriculum, Wit and Wisdom. In our previous lessons, students have read chapters 1 through 5 of our book, Hatchet by Gary Paulsen. As we have been identifying the characters, the setting, and the problem of Hatchet, students have noticed that Gary Paulsen uses a variety of thought shots to help the readers experience the story through the eyes of the character. In our lesson today, our objective is for students to analyze Brian's thoughts, feelings, and actions within chapters 1 through 5 to determine how the setting impacts Brian as a character. I want the students to dig deeper into who Brian is, and looking at those thoughts, feelings, and actions, students will be able to notice that. Students are going to create a stick figure chart where they identify a specific moment where Gary Paulsen uses a thought shot. They're going to pull out the thoughts, the feelings, and actions to identify who he is as a character. I have created a more simplified graphic organizer for my struggling students if needed. At the end of the module, students will be writing their own survival story, Hatchet, using Hatchet to guide them. In our last lesson, students began to brainstorm their own survival story, creating their characters, their setting, and their problem. Tomorrow, they're going to take our lesson we learned today using thought shots and help them create a more depth of helping their readers understand who they are as a character in their own survival story. So in our lesson tomorrow, we're going to use the thoughts, feelings, and actions to explode a moment in our writing. What is a thought shot? Pair and share. The only thing, Keller, it's not a flashback. Well, wait. It could be, depending on how you're thinking about it. Like, what do you mean by the flashback?
Something that you were thinking about.
Oh, okay. At first, I thought you meant like if something just happened and you thought about a flashback. I see where you're. Yes. I understand. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, Parker, go ahead.
So I think like a thought shot, I'm using something what Keller said. I think that a thought shot is when like a character is thinking about something. It could also be a flashback. And what I mean about flashback is you're thinking about, how Brian was thinking about the divorce that happened like many, let's say days ago. That is basically a flashback and a thought shot because he's both thinking and he's remembering about it and he's telling us about it.
So thinking of that, guys, I'm glad you brought that up, because at first I told Keller, I'm like, no, a flashback is not a thought shot, but then I went, wait a minute, I guess it could be at that moment, depending on what's happening. So like, you ever have like an event, like you're somewhere and someone says something or does something and it makes you think of something that you want to tell them about? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what Keller's meaning. You brought up the divorce. If Brian keeps thinking of the divorce, what does that reveal about Brian? What does that tell us about Brian? Pair and share. Looking at what he thinks, if you keep walking back from good luck, you'll come to bad luck. what do you think the thought shot means, and what does it tell us about Brian? So think about the events that just occurred. What does this thought shot reveal about Brian? Parents share. But what does it reveal about Brian? Okay, what are the bad things that are happening to him? And so what's his good luck then? Nice job, girl. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, Amelia, share with us what this tells us.
So, if you keep on, if things that are the opposite of good luck keep on happening to you, that means you have bad luck. And the bad luck things that happened to him was that his parents got divorced. Pilot had a heart attack. He crashed into the wilderness, and he doesn't know where he is. But the good luck is that he could have died if he crashed into the rocks, and he still has a hatchet on his belt.
No add to? Okay. All right, so go ahead.
I was gonna say that this also tells us, because of the secret he keeps on talking about, it could be like why his parents divorced, and that I think that could maybe either the bad luck or the good luck too, and he wants to know what happened.
Okay, so he has all this bad luck, and then he gets this one lucky moment that he realized if he would have flew the plane just a little bit over, what would happen?
He would have
He would have been smashed, right? So I want you to think about, what does that reveal about him? He thought about all his bad luck, but then he thought about this one moment of good luck. So this is how I explained to the other class. If I'm riding my bike, okay, how many of you have fallen off your bike before? Okay, if we're riding our bike, riding our bike, and we fall, okay, and I fall down, and I'm like, oh my goodness, oh, and I got this little bit of drop of blood. How would you describe me? Dramatic, right? Okay, now, over dramatic, right? Now, if I'm riding my bike, and I fall down, and I have a scrape on my knee, and I have this little bit of blood, and I just kind of wipe it off, and I keep going, and I get back on my bike again, what does that tell about me? Parent share. So what we're going to be doing today is that we're focusing on chapters 4 and 5. You're going to play detective, and you're going to look for other thoughts and actions in Hatchet in order to analyze how they teach us more about Brian and his ability to survive. So look at the setbacks that Brian has had so far in our story arc. Parents share, what other setbacks has he had? What are the setbacks that he's had? Raylan. He's hungry. That's a setback. Gus is already gone. Can you call him someone else?
Like when he's like sitting on a tree and like when the mosquitoes are attacking him, like he looks back because he thought he thinks like animals are like looking at him during the night.
Okay, so he has the mosquito attack. He has the animals out in the forest. His hunger. What was the other thing? His what?
Thirst.
His thirst. So these are all the other setbacks he has. You're going to be making a chart. You're going to label at the top Brian the day after the crash. So every group is going to have this at the top. You're going to draw a stick figure. You know how to draw a stick figure?
Yeah.
The head, the body, the legs, and the arms, right? You're going to put a brain up here, and then you have the hands, and then you have the feet. when we're looking at it, you're going to focus only on chapters 4 and 5. You're going to put next to his brain his thoughts. So you're going to write the word thoughts. Next to the feet and hands, you're going to write actions. So if you run on a run by his hand, you can put it by his feet. And then you're going to draw a heart right here. And what do you think that's going to be? Feelings. So when we look at a character's thoughts, feelings, and actions, it reveals something about that character. What does this reveal about Brian? So he's thinking about eating his burger, drinking his water. So what is his action? Oh, so he drinks the lake water, but does he sip it? He drinks a lot of it, so I would put a drink. So he gets a lot of water. So drinks lake water. Okay, it's okay.
Drinks lake water.
So you need to put a lot. And are y'all taking turns writing? Because it looks like the same. Okay. Whatever you think.
Drink water. Okay. Equals a lot. So you're saying equals a lot.
Okay, so what feelings did he have?
He felt hungry.
Okay.
Braylon did. She just got milk, right?
Okay, so he's hungry and what? Okay, so now looking at his thought, his feelings and his actions, you need to come up with what does it reveal about Brian's character. Exactly, so he's confused about how to get the mosquitoes away from him. He doesn't know what to do. Think about it when the mosquitoes are biting you at home, what do you do? You get bug spray. You go inside. So he has no shelter, he has no bug spray. He has nothing he can do to protect himself from these mosquitoes. He only has a little bit of clothes that he has left. What does it reveal about him? So we jump in.
Even on
I agree. Like he is pushing through. But how does he feel at that moment? He has no bug spray and he has no shelter to protect himself. He get what? Helpless. Look at the part on page 35. Read that first sentence of the second paragraph. He's what? What's his action? What's his action though right now? He's crying. He's crying with agony because he's in so much pain because the mosquitoes are so thick when he inhales, he's inhaling them. Like when he breathes in, he's inhaling them. So think about the little mosquitoes biting you guys and you're getting frustrated to where like you're like, oh my goodness, stop. But he's crying. So that shows that he's helpless. Good job, guys. Add that to your chart. Now that the lesson has been complete, I can determine if my students have met their objectives. While the students were working in groups, I walked around listening to their conversations to determine if they met the objectives. I noticed that some of the groups were struggling at first, but with my scaffold questions, students were able to meet those objectives. Also, at the end of the lesson, I posted each group's chart around the room. As I read the information from the chart to the class, I noticed that all groups had met their objectives. In future lessons, I would like to provide more time for this lesson for students to do a gallery walk. That way they can walk around looking at each group's chart to make it more meaningful to them. But today I did not have time to do that, so I had to read the information to them. In sum, today's lesson began with me stating the objective, doing whole group conversations, pairing and sharing. I modeled the activity, and then I gave students an opportunity to do collaborative grouping.